Welcome to the Risk Takers Only podcast, the podcast to motivate you, inspire you, push you to take action so you can change your everyday life. My name is Mike Upshire. I'm the host today. Happy New Year's to you guys, man. It's 2024. I don't know about you guys, but I know myself, man. I got a big goals. We accomplished a lot, me and my company, my wife, my family in 2023. And it's just, we are exploding. We're coming in very hot for 2024. We actually just came back from a trip to Phoenix. We were visiting family today. So I'm fresh off of a flight about an hour in, and I came here because I wanted to speak with you guys. I want to light you guys up. I wanted to put you guys on fire today. Today we got a good episode that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about how to get started as an entrepreneur. So I know a lot of you guys, especially guys that I talk to on a daily basis, a lot of you guys always ask me, how do I open up the businesses that I run, that I am in charge of? And the main topic that we always get into is how you get started. Once you know what you're doing as an entrepreneur, you have the skill set and you've done it for a couple years, it's a little bit easier, but getting started is always the hard part. You talk to a lot of people who have the LLC set up or the website set up for their business, and they said, hey, I'm started as an entrepreneur, but that's not the actual start. And so I'm here today. I'm going to give you actionable tips, knowledge, personable stories from me and how I get started and how I identify a business and industry that I want to be in. And how do I decide, hey, listen, I'm not just going to identify it. I'm not just going to research it. I'm going to take the action and get started. And that's what we're talking about today. So, the one thing I think we want to talk about before we get started is the actual mindset, because I've met countless people who've started a business, been in that business for 1, 2, 3 months, maybe even a year, and they're done. They're done. The business is closed. They're back to their 9 to 5 and not knocking a 9 to 5, but we're talking about taking control of your financial freedom and starting a business that is really fucking scary, and a lot of people do not have success in this. And so I think the mindset is very key, because it doesn't matter if you start the business. We're actually talking about actually starting it, and we want to finish it. And so I'm going to give you guys 6 actionable steps. I'm going to make it easy. I'm going to give you 6 steps. Grab a pen, grab a pencil. I'm going to give you some time real quick. 6 actionable steps, and we're going to talk about it. Number 1 is going to be one of my favorites. This is my favorite. It's adaptability. Adaptability. I think being able to adapt to not just your environment, but the many changes as an entrepreneur that you're going to experience is super key. And when I say changes, you're talking about market conditions. Perfect example is when COVID happened. A lot of businesses had to pivot and they had to adapt to a new norm. You're talking about recruitment. You're talking about personnel changes. You may have a manager or a key player in your business that leaves, or for whatever reason is no longer working with you, a partner that is no longer there, a vendor, whatever the case may be. There's a lot of changes that you have to navigate when you're starting a business. And there's a book that you guys need to get. It's called Who Moved My Cheese? And I had a young lady, one of my friends, Mel B. She's owner of Injury Health Center in Sanford. Shout out to Mel. She gave me a book called Who Moved My Cheese? And the book essentially is talking about just adapting to your surroundings. And what it essentially talked about was there was cheese in a maze, and the cheese was always in one place in the maze, and the mice would wake up in the morning. They would go right to that place to get that cheese. And then there was one day where that cheese was not there. And it was 2 mice. So one mice kept coming every day to that same spot, hoping that the cheese would still be there. The other mice ended up understanding that he's going to start looking for other routes to find different cheese. Well, that other mice ended up taking time going through the maze, and he finally found a route that showed him an unlimited supply of cheese, while that other mice ended up passing away because he kept going to the same spot and the cheese was no longer there. And that goes to show you, just talking about adapting to your surroundings. That is one of my number 1 traits. I think I've gained the skill. I developed that skill over time just from my personal background. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I moved to Florida. My high school career, meaning I had to come to a high school that I knew no one from elementary school. All my friends and all my family are still in Chicago. I went to 3 different high schools, 3 different colleges. And so that type of change, I'm used to, being able to get dropped in an environment and be able to say, hey, listen, I'm going to hold my own. I'm going to adapt. I'm going to figure it out through trial and error, whatever it takes. I'm going to be okay. And I think that spirit is key as an entrepreneur because you're going to come up with a lot. The spirit of relentlessness. That's a mentality that I think, man, it's a trait that is just so key when you're talking about being relentless. And I don't want to keep giving y'all books, you know what I mean? I'm not even the top reader myself, but I'm going to give you another one. By Tim Grover, Relentless. It's a book that talks about, I'm a sports player. If you look, I got tattoos all over me. I used to play basketball in college. And I think that's really helped me develop the spirit of relentlessness, meaning I will continue to fight. I will continue to push through a brick wall to accomplish my goals and whatever I want to accomplish. I don't care what anyone says I can't do. I'm going to continue to do it no matter how I'm feeling, no matter what my body's telling me. If my mind tells me I can do it, I'm going to get it done. In the book, Tim Grover, he talks about, and just so you guys know, Tim Grover is Michael Jordan's trainer, was Michael Jordan's trainer. And in that book, he specifically talks about the mindset between Michael Jordan, Dwayne Wade, high-level basketball guys, Hall of Famers, and their mindset when you're talking about winning a championship, talking about how Dwayne Wade, after a loss in the finals, comes back beat up, bruised, and is practicing the day before an appearance in the finals. And it's just the relentlessness of being able to continue to push forward no matter where you're at. Let's just say you're going to get knocked down. You can put together a business plan and say, hey, this is how I'm going to start my business. But at the end of the day, it's not going to happen that way. And when you reach that adversity, because you're going to reach it, what are you going to do? Are you going to fold? Are you going to quit? Are you going to pout? Are you going to throw a pity party? And the spirit of relentlessness, you need to have that because things are not going to go your way. Things are going to go wrong. You will lose money. You will lose relationships. You will lose friends. You will lose workers that you've really liked and sometimes loved. And you need to be able to wake up in the morning and continue to go after it. And if you can't do that, you're going to have a hard time in this world of entrepreneurship. Number 3 is problem solver. Problem solver. You would think that solving problems is very easy, but the people who solve, and I had a mentor who told me this before, the people who solve the biggest problems get paid the most. And especially if you're solving someone who has a high net worth, if you're solving a high net worth individual's problem, you're going to make a good amount of money. And so problem solving is very key as an entrepreneur. Like I just was alluding to, you're going to have a lot of different situations that are going to pop up throughout your time as an entrepreneur. And you're going to have to adapt for one. You're going to have to be relentless to fight through it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're relentless and keep going through that same wall. If you can't solve the problem, you're dead in the water. And at the end of the day, problem solving is actually a skill. And that's one of my top skills is problem solving. I always give my wife a lot of credit because we have 3 kids. 2 of them are 7 years old. One of them is 5 years old. And she solves a lot of problems throughout the day. And when I talk about problems, I'll relate it to business. We had a situation where we had a merchant processor. And what a merchant processor is, it allows us to be able to take credit card payments from customers. And so if a customer wants to pay us for our services, which at the time we had a debt relief service, and they would, pay to get out of debt, we'd create them a game plan and they would pay for that service through credit card. Well, we had one time where all the payments we had going through that merchant processor ended up, the merchant processor wanted to flag us. They flagged us and basically wanted to do an audit. That audit, them not knowing I needed that particular capital for that week, I had to pay out vendors, I had to pay out employees, commission agents, and they held that money up. And I think it was like 2 or 3 days before I had to pay out on that money. And you talking about sweating balls that day and that night, could not sleep, could not eat. I got a pit in my stomach. Why? Because you have a responsibility as an entrepreneur. You want to keep your name good. You want to be a good steward of money. And at the end of the day, I had a problem against me. And, I could have sat there and threw my pity party. And sometimes, I'll be honest, I'll throw a pity party, meaning I'll be a little bit upset for a time being, but I quickly get over it. And then I just got to start analyzing what can I control? What can I do? And did I make payroll? You damn right I made payroll. How did I make payroll? friends, family, telling certain people that, hey, we may not be able to pay you now, but we'll pay you, 5 days from now. We'll pay you in increments, whatever it is. I took the problem that I was faced against, and I took it head on, and I solved that problem, and I solved it, head on. And another book, this is not a book reading podcast, but we're going to talk a lot about books, I guess, because a lot of the books that I'm telling you about gave me inspiration with a lot of things. And there's a book, I'm trying to think of it, The Richest Man in Babylon. If you read that talks a lot about, problem solving and how to handle certain situations. But I think that's key because, again, you're going to be faced with problems. And sometimes the problem, you're thinking of a solution to say, okay, this is going to change the outcome. Sometimes solving the problem is not changing the outcome. Sometimes it's a matter of just stepping up and communicating with people. And so, again, learning how to solve problems, I guess, is a skill in itself, but it comes with a lot of different responsibilities and skill sets that you will have to learn to do that. And if you can solve problems well, there's always a place for you in the marketplace. Let's go to number 4. Number 4 is hardworking. Hardworking. Yes, cliche, hardworking. You bust your ass, you get paid good. Hard work is the epitome of me, my company, my brand. I mean, I got hard work tatted on me. I got a tattoo that says hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard. And I've always lived by that motto, meaning you can be more talented, but you will not outwork me. You can be more talented. You work your 40 hours for the week. If I'm working 60 hours, I'm going to outwork you. And eventually my work is going to develop a skill set that I'm going to explode. And hard work is so key in entrepreneurship. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. Doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're on a job, you're a mom, you're a dad, you're a basketball player. It doesn't matter what you do. Hard work is key. And starting out, especially if you're starting out as an entrepreneur, a new business owner, hard work is key because you don't have the skill set. You may have had prior knowledge from working for someone, but entrepreneurship is a totally different skill, and it's going to take you some time. So you're going to suck. So the only thing you have that you can do is you can put a high output of hard work in. If you don't have the skill set, guess what you got to do? You got to work twice and 3 times as hard as that next individual. When I talk about hard work, I talk about living and breathing whatever you do. You're not just a 9-to-5. You're not just a 40-hour a week type person. I'm talking about your YouTube university it up. You're talking to whoever you can about the industry that you're in. You're talking to friends. You're in mentorship, meetup groups. You're putting in the time and the effort, even though you may be tired, to be able to accomplish your goal. And a lot of times when, you start out, you're looking at everyone else. Everyone got the glitz, the glam. They got the chains, the Rolexes on. They on social media and they look the part. And so you're thinking you can't compete with them, but you damn sure can. Why? Because at certain point, some people are going to take that foot off the gas. And if you're a person who constantly outworks the competition, you're going to be levels above. It does not matter how skilled this person is if they're only working so many hours, if they're only available so many hours, because they need downtime. They're tired. They don't want to go and talk and meet and entertain people. They don't want to work on the business. They don't want to study. They're tired. If you can develop that skill, and it can be developed. I met some lazy people that developed the skill once they saw some results. And it took them, to the roof. Especially, I always am going to bring back to a basketball analogy. I used to have guys on my team. There's one individual that I know back in high school. He was on the team, and he didn't get a lot of playing time. Always overweight. Always, when we had to run sprints, everyone had to meet at certain times. So we were always like, come on, man, I'm not going to put his name out there, but we always are like, come on, man, don't make us run any more sprints. So we're always pushing him to, run harder and faster. And so, back in the day, he was always heavy set. Now, fast forward, it's like 10, 12 years later since I seen him, he's cut, in shape, eats healthy. And when you talk to him, it's nothing different. It's not a magic pill that he took. It's just the discipline and the hard work, that work that he put in each and every day, even when he's tired. When he first started working out, he told me his hardest part wasn't actually doing the workouts. It was sucking in front of everyone. He didn't want to go to the gym and look like he couldn't do the workout because everyone was watching. And it's like, if you understand it, like, it's very simple. You can outwork your opponent no matter how skillful you are. And the work that you continue to put in is going to eventually turn into skill. Number 5, we're going to talk about number 5 is Always look for ways to get better. Always seek ways to get better. That is something that has helped me dramatically. I'm always analyzing myself. I'm my I'm my worst critic, literally. I'm always looking in the mirror, asking myself, how can I get better? Did I handle this situation the best? If I didn't, how can I improve? And that is a skill set. Personal development. Always looking for ways to get better. You have to be able to analyze yourself. And if you can't analyze, you have to think of different ways to be able to figure out, okay, if I'm going to be a basketball player, how can I get better as a basketball player? How can I get better as a basketball player? If I'm going to, for me, I'm in the freight brokerage business. How can I be a better freight broker? How can I learn more about this mode of transportation? How can I maximize my customers' returns in this scenario? And each and every day, there's a new young gun, and if not new, it's someone like me who is going to work and put in the time to be able to develop the skills needed to be able to dominate and continue to gain a part of the market share. And for me, if you're going up against me, I'm always, paying for mentorships, courses, different things that I can do to develop and be the best that I can be. And if you're stagnant in business, especially with your development, your company's growth, you're losing. Because there's new guys, there's new technology, there's a lot of content, there's a lot of information out there that is no way that you can be the same person, day in and day out. Each and every day you want to try to get better at that 1%. And if that's not your goal, if you're satisfied and if you become satisfied, complacent, this game is not for you. You'll make a little bit of money, but you're not going to make what you're really looking for. You're not going to acquire that financial freedom that you're really looking for. And so when you talk about, again, personal development, which is a skill in itself, wanting to get better. Number one thing I would say for me that helps me out is I hang around people that they won't allow me to slack. For instance, I have a goal for abs. I'm going to have that 6-pack abs, right? And so the individual that I hang around, I can't eat any bread during the week without someone saying, you ain't going to get the 6-pack abs. They're going to make a little joke, a little fat joke. And for me, that's awesome because that holds me accountable to my goals. I know I have to develop in that area, meaning, okay, there's certain things I can't eat. I have to hit the gym. And so hanging around individuals that's like-minded, that's going to definitely help you out with your personal development. And that definitely has helped me out. I only hang around, and I'm sorry to say it, but I only hang around with entrepreneurs, family men, business owners, my mentors, people like that who hold themselves to a higher standard, which helps me out. Whatever I'm trying to skill in, if I'm looking to grow in the area of a freight brokerage, I'm going to be hanging around with people who are in the transportation industry, who own trucks, who broker freight, who dispatch. And so naturally, again, skill set number 5, trait number 5, you have to be able to analyze yourself, look yourself in the mirror, and make sure you're always getting better. And number six is risk taking. It's the name of the podcast, man. Come on. Risk taking. Number 6, risk taking. Listen, everything that I went through is fine and dandy. But if you're like on that cliff and you're scared to take that risk and you're an excellent problem solver, you work real hard, but you're just... How many people have you guys talked to have told you guys a wonderful idea that they were going to start in business? Just between me and you. How many people? How many people have created the website, set up the LLC? How many people showed you that logo? The logo looked real good, right? All of that is the easy part. The risk is actually getting started. And so number 6, I say for last, because taking the risk is the number one thing. You may not be the best at adapting to situations. You may not be relentless at not a damn thing. You may not be a good problem solver. You may work subpar, but the minute you take that risk and you get started, you did more than the next person. You did more than half the people with all these skill sets and traits. Half the people don't get started for whatever reason. It is an excuse. And taking the risk is the biggest thing. For me, I've talked to countless friends and family members, and I know they look at me crazy. They're like, man, he's unstable. Why? Because he takes some risk. It's a little bit scary. And I know it gets scary. I tell you, when I first got started as an entrepreneur, I didn't really choose that route myself. I was kind of forced into it. Now, I didn't have to stick to it, but I used to work at a debt relief company, and I was the top sales agent. My wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, she was an agent under me. I was a manager, and she was an agent under me. And so we were the top sales agents on the squad. And ironically, the owner's friend approached me and offered me a proposal to say, hey, listen, you're the top sales agent. I'm going to put some money behind you to open up your own sales floor. We'll partner on it. And now you're owner of a sales floor, call center. So I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't have any confidence in myself. So what I did is I went back to the owner of the company that I met. I didn't tell him that his friend was the one funding me, but I told him, hey, listen, I'm going to open up a call center doing the same thing we're doing, and I want you to be a partner. I'm still going to work for you. I'm going to put someone in position to be able to run the company, and we're just going to work it out that way. And so obviously they accept it. They're going to get 50% of my company. I'm still going to work for them and give them my all. They accept it. So over the weekend, I'm on cloud nine. I'm going to have a business open, making side money on my business, and I'm going to still work for someone. Mind you, I'm still not confident in myself just yet. Then I come in that Monday, me and my wife, girlfriend at the time, we come in on Monday, and all of our, equipment, all of our paperwork, everything that belongs to us is sitting in the front office. The ownership said, hey, listen, you can't go back there. You guys are fired. The deal that you offer me, no longer on the table. We see you guys as competition. Bye. And so, what hurt me, because I was hurt that day, because I'm like, man, this is the part that everyone feels. I'm scared. I don't have the confidence in myself. I know if I take the risk, what if I fail? I'm losing time. I'm losing more important money because I got to put my money into this too. And not to mention, my wife, my girlfriend, I just got her fired. And she's living with me at the time. And so essentially, I got fired from a job that I had an opportunity where I thought I was going to be able to open up a business and make money there and still make money at a 9-to-5. And that 9-to-5, which is I call a safety net, got snatched from under me. I have no safety net. I'm scared as hell. I'm thinking of failure. I'm living in a condo in Baldwin Park, which if you guys are not in Florida, specifically Orlando, is a very nice area. So I'm thinking, man, I'm going to have to go back home to my parents. I'm not going to be able to pay the rent. And I had an opportunity right in front of me. And I remember it like it was yesterday. Me and my wife, girlfriend at the time, we binge watched American Horror Story for a whole month. Binge watched American Horror Story for a whole month. I don't remember the season. And then after that month, we were like, hey, we got to get started. And that day we got started. Mind you, we still have funds from an investor. So we got started making phone calls ourselves, and the rest was history. Did we go through our ups and downs that year? Hell yeah. I think we ate like Sonny's dinner for like a month straight because they had you can buy a gift card and they'll double it up for you. And so we would buy the gift card because we knew we didn't make that much money. So we had to get the most out of we could out of the groceries. So we would buy Sonny's gift cards to be able to eat. We wouldn't get haircuts. We had a rule where if we didn't make any money, we wouldn't get haircuts and nails done. So we was walking around looking nasty. But those are the things that we went through and the risks that we took. I could have easily said, hey, let me call my mom. My dad is a manager, at a paint company getting paid. I could have easily did that. Let me call my mom's job, which I used to work for at the time. I know I can sit down in an interview and make it look real good. But, the thing for us is we really wanted the freedom. It wasn't even about the money. We were like, hey, listen, we know what this person knows. I know I can do it, and we wanted the freedom, and we took that risk. And I would not be here today. You would not be hearing from me if we never would have taken that risk to actually get started. Because we had an opportunity to close up shop again and say, hey, listen, we're going to go work, get a 9-to-5, and call it a day. But you have to be able to take a risk. And that's the biggest thing. And so, again, I want to go over the 6 traits again for you guys. If you didn't write it down, number 1, adaptability. You got to be able to adapt. Number 2, relentlessness. You got to be relentless when you're an entrepreneur. Number 3, problem solving. You got to be able to solve problems. If you can't solve problems, you need to get out the game. Hard worker. One of my favorite skills, hard worker. Hard work beats talent. When talent fails to work hard, you got to work your ass off. Number 5, you got to always look to get better. Your personal development has to be at an all-time high. You cannot lack in that area. And then number 6, got to be a risk taker. Got to be a risk taker. With all that being said, I want to be able to give you guys some tips and some help to be able to find and figure out these traits and be able to get to the point where you're ready to pull the trigger. Because I know you're like right on that cliff and you notice you're putting in a lot of work and the dollar's not adding up. Some of you may not even have a job, but you need to get started. And so this is going to help you push you over the cliff to get started. So how do you actually find what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Because you need to actually know the traits, the strengths that you actually have. How do you find that? And so how I do that, and it constantly changes in areas. If I don't continue to develop in one area, I'm going to lack in that area. And the areas that I do practice and study and work on, I'm going to actually grow in that area. And so how do you find or figure out your strengths and weaknesses as an entrepreneur? Number one for me, which is been a game changer, I always take a strengths assessment, and I do it every year. And there's a website that I use called Gallup Strengths, Gallup Strengths. You can type that in on Google. And I want you to purchase the full 34 strengths. It's like $60. I want to hear you guys don't got it because you guys, if that new mug, that pink mug that everyone was buying at Target recently, if you guys had that pink mug out there, you guys will spend it. So I don't want to hear it. Spend that $50-$60 and it's going to unlock 34 strengths. And it just doesn't say, hey, you are strong at problem solving. It gives you specifically, it's like a 30-minute assessment too, by the way. So it's very in depth. But it gives you the top strengths and it breaks it down. What are the strengths of that strength? What are the weaknesses? What are the areas that you should look out for? And it really breaks it down. And I feel like everyone that I've had taking it, I use it now for my recruitment. I guess the way I recruit my employees, I use that now to be able to tell, their strengths and weaknesses, and it does help me out a lot. And it's really damn accurate. So take the Gallup Strengths Test, and that's going to give you your top 34 strengths. It's going to really analyze your top 10 strengths. Those top 10 are going to really help you understand where you're at as an entrepreneur. And it's also going to be able to help you pick the industry or the business you want to be in as well. So that's number one. Number two is very simple. If you're too cheap to pay for $60, really you shouldn't be in this game. But if you, for whatever reason, if you didn't have the $60, the $60, if you didn't have it, I want you to go ahead and ask 3 to 5 friends, colleagues, family members, girlfriends, the 3 to 5 people that you're around the most. Ask them to tell you 3 strengths that you have, or 3 things that areas that are strong points or areas that you're good at, and 3 weaknesses. Tell them to be brutally honest. And if you're a person that gets mad, zip your mouth, let them talk, and just take note. And I guarantee you, if you ask minimum 3 up to 5, you'll start to see trends. Trends of people telling you what the strengths are or telling you what they do like. You can ask what your strengths are, what they do like about you, what they don't really like about you, or what you need to improve on. And you're going to start to see trends from all parties. And again, there has to be people that know you the most, that you spend time with the most, all right? And when you do that, again, you're going to start to see, okay, some people are saying the same thing. I'll give you an example for me. I am working on this year, my peace, my patience, my poise. I have a lot of energy, natural energy. I don't need coffee. I don't need energy drinks in the morning. I'm already energized. And sometimes that energy, when I get a little bit upset, can come out the wrong way. And so I'm working on peace, poise. And the way I came to that conclusion, one, I know myself. I can analyze it. I know when I get upset, how I feel afterwards. And a lot of you guys first need to analyze yourself, like we talked about. But number two, when I talk to my friends and I talk to my family, that's something that they do bring up. Being able to approach me with situations without me getting there, let's just say. And that's something that I'm getting better. I'm way better at it than I was before. You can talk to my wife about it. She'll vouch for me. And so the last point is something that we talked about already in the podcast, but look yourself in the mirror. I think a lot of times people don't, you always are seeking the validation from other people, which is good, especially if you're talking to people that legitimately want to see you do well, which going back to if you talk to your 3 to 5 friends or family members about your strengths and weaknesses, they'll be honest with you. But number one, you have to be able to look yourself in the mirror and see where things going wrong, where the areas that you see success in, where areas that you say, man, I just didn't like how that happened. I didn't like the outcome. I don't like how I handled that. I don't like the results I'm getting in this situation. And you have to really look yourself in the mirror and be able to analyze that and act on it, And I do that. Sometimes I do it too much. I look myself in the mirror too much, and my wife has to sometimes tell me just to chill, just be you, just do what you have to do. But I'm always looking for areas of improvement. How can I get better at this? Whether I'm asking myself, did I handle that conversation with my wife the best? I'm analyzing that. To did I handle that conversation with a team member the best? I'm analyzing that. Hey, did I close this person the best? Did I study enough on this particular topic? And so that right there is a game changer because especially if you're someone who's getting started, you don't got a lot of friends, you don't have the network just yet, and your friends and family may not be with you, they may not be someone to talk to, you can damn sure look in the mirror and analyze yourself. You can do that. We all can do that. Hey, if you are enjoying this content, you liking what you're hearing, it's motivating you, it's inspiring you, go ahead and subscribe, like, comment. I would love that. The feedback is needed. Also, if you're not already following me on social media, you're just missing out. I'm just letting you know right now. So if you're going to watch the comment, you might as well you might as well comment, give me some feedback. I want all the smoke. But if you're not already, also too, follow me on social media at Mike Upshire. That's at MikeUpshire. The information will be below. So just follow it, drop a comment. I want to hear some feedback. I want to hear you guys' thoughts, views, questions that you guys are having. But until then, man, I'm out of here. How do you develop these traits? How do you develop the mindset? So we know the traits, right? We know the traits. We know how to identify and what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what current traits you possess. But if you don't have those traits, how do you develop those traits? How do you develop the mindset? Right? I don't want to say it's easy, but the information is right in front of your face. I think, again, you're going to have to put you're going to have to push yourself into doing a lot of things, which is what we're going to go over. But the information is right in front of your face. So listen, I hope you still got that pen and pencil. I know we're getting up there in time, but I want you guys to take, this is where the action starts to take place. Because all of this right now is just research. You can just research and figure out about yourself. And yeah, I'm a strong problem solver. But if you didn't take that action, this means nada. All right. So now this is what we're going to do, or how do we develop these strengths, these traits? So number one, I named off about 3 to 4 different damn books. And I didn't plan on talking about books, but to be honest, I get a lot of information from reading. And I tell myself, and I got to stop saying that mentally, but I tell myself I'm not the biggest reader. But I named off Who Moved My Cheese, just to go back, The Richest Man in Babylon, and I'm trying to remember the third one. They'll help me remember the third one. But reading. Read. Anytime you want to develop a skill, there's probably a book about it from someone that's already done it, and did it better than you, or is doing it better than you. Whether you're talking about peace, there's books on peace. I specifically read more so like I like Joyce Myers. Joyce Myers, practical, gives me information on what I want as far as peace. That's what I like to read. Let's talk about problem solving. I talked to you about The Richest Man in Babylon. Let's talk about motivation. You're talking about Being Relentless by Tim Grover. That was a third one, by the way. I got a lot of information from reading, and it's a way that if you can't afford to pay for a mentorship, or if you can't afford to pay for a course, you can easily pay for a book, audio book, and you can read and you can gather different bits of information, and that's going to help you develop that skill set. Mentorships. Oh man, mentorships. I am a firm advocate, believer of mentorships. I pay $60,000 a year for my current mentor, $5,000 a month. I've mentioned this and I've told a couple people before, and I've had individuals laugh, tell me how their network is so thick that they can go talk to someone whenever they can without paying $60K. Okay, you do that. Mentorships have allowed me to do what y'all want to do at Universal and Disney, which is skip the line. Everyone is in a line and we're pushing to get forward. You're trying to get out information and knowledge, and a lot of times you're just going to have to fail forward. You're going to have to fight through it, take that risk, fail, analyze it, reevaluate it, problem solve, and go after it again. You go after it again, you hit that wall, you do the same thing, analyzing and get better at it. A mentor for me allows me to skip the line, skip all of that. And I can go to someone that is literally where I want to be, in the industry I want to be, making the money I want to make. And he says, do this. do that. Now, I'm skipped the line. I don't got to go through all those problems. I'm still going to have problems. I'm still going to have to learn some things. I'm still going to develop some skill sets. I'm still going to have to change my mentality, my mindset. But certain things, that I'll give you an example. Me and my wife, we have a freight brokerage, which I'm just going to let you know if you guys tune in to episode number 2, or season 2, episode number 2, we're going to talk about the freight brokerage industry because that's a crazy industry. But me and my wife, we started a freight brokerage, and we started the brokerage, and year 1, we did, I think it was like 1.1, 1.2 mil. Year 1. Year 2, we doubled that. Year 2, we doubled that in a recession, in a market that most people, not even most, majority of companies are going out of business, and we doubled that. And mind you, I still don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just playing. But listen, it's to say that I've doubled the revenue in a market that is people are going out of business. People that have done this for 15, 20, 30 years, and I've done it for 2.5 years, and I'm doubling my revenue, and I'm just scratching the surface. Why? It's because I have knowledge that allows me to compete with someone who has 15 years knowledge. I may not have the skill set, but I have someone in the ear telling me what I need to do to be able to help me out. And so I would pay for a mentorship all day, every day, to be able to get that knowledge, skip the line, and not even skipping the line too. That's just one caveat. But someone who can help you develop the mindset. Remember, we were just talking about mindsets and traits a little while ago. My mentor helps me and pushes me to develop into mindsets that I wasn't even tapped into. And again, sometimes when people talk about mentorship, they think it's a scam. Why? Because when you pay for something, you're expecting to get a physical good, to be honest. That's what you're expecting to get, right? You're expecting to say, hey, I'm going to pay for this iPad. Here's the iPad. But when you pay for a mentorship, what is he giving you? He's giving you his intellectual ability, right? His intellectual ability, right? And so it's literally knowledge that you probably known about, but he told you in a different way. And now you go do it. And now, boom, it's a game changer. You're like, I could have did that. You could have done that, but you didn't. And so my mentor a lot for me, and I'm just giving you my experiences. The mentors that I've had, they push me when I'm, it's like in the gym. You're doing some reps and you got that extra lift and you're like, you know what, I'm tired. I'm just going to go ahead and rack it up, and you're ready to put the weights down. But you have a spotter there that's saying, hey, listen, you got 2 more. And he's not just telling you, he's yelling at you and saying, you got 2 more reps. You got it. It's like, man, I'm not going to give up. He about to spot me. He's telling me I can do it. I'm going to get those 2 in, and you finish it off with 2. But you about to quit at that last rep, right? That's what a mentor does. He pushes you. When you think, hey, listen, I'm at my breaking point, I don't think I can do it. It's like, man, you don't even realize what is over that mountain if you just had that extra push. And that's essentially what a mentor does. Now, I'm not telling y'all to go pay someone $60K, but you guys have to find the right person that is where you want to be at. So for me, my mentor is a husband. My mentor is a family man. My mentor's son works in his industry, his business. My mentor drives the whips that I want to drive. So that's how I selected him. My mentor came from a referral of a past mentor that I had success with. So for you guys, you're going to have to do some research. I just don't dive into it because there's some shady individuals out there. But at the end of the day, don't be scared. And sometimes you're going to have to pay some money to realize what didn't work, to realize what does work. And you're going to have to take a risk. Cliche again. Got to take a risk. Joining a group or a club. So you can join a group or a club, whether it's online or in person, whether it's real estate. They got real estate meetups. Whether you online recently, I've been watching. I don't know why. I think I clicked on this. You know how the Facebook algorithms, you click on one thing and it starts to show you all of that, what you clicked on. I clicked on like someone would show a picture of themselves and they say, hey, put me by a subway in New York. And someone would do Photoshop and put that person behind the subway in New York. And so there was a whole group of people who would just take a picture and like get dressed and go behind like their dirty old house, and they would have a nice outfit on and say, hey, put me on a nice pool in Miami or something like that. And a whole group of people, and when they're doing it, they're giving information and they're giving feedback and they're finding, here's a number to this guy and that guy. If you join a group or some type of club that is doing what you want to do, doing the thing that you want to do, listen, it's strength in numbers. You're bound to be that person that's going to learn more, develop the new skill set, develop the relationships you need within that industry to be successful. But you got to do it, and you got to be consistent. You can't be someone who just is someone who dabbles in it a little bit. You have to be consistent. You have to come in to add value, and you have to seek to be to take the knowledge that people are adding to you. So join a group or a club. Again, it can be online, it can be in person. I'll give you another group. I clicked on some Rolex watches. I'm a Rolex collector, so I clicked on some Rolex watches. I clicked on the Rolex watches, and now I see groups of people that are just posting all about Rolexes and posting, authorized dealers that actually sell the Rolexes that I'm looking for. And before, I'm just waiting in line in the Rolex store locally, and I have to keep coming every month telling them the one that I want. Now I'm in a group of people that talk to me, send me different outlets that I can find the watch, the brand that I want. And again, it's because I've engulfed myself, indulged into that group. I've taken an interest in it, and I'm surrounding myself with like-minded people, and I'm available in that group setting. And so you guys have to do that. Join a group, whether it's a meetup group, a club, online presence, online club or group, whatever it is. You need to get around people that are doing the thing that you want to do, or where you want to be at. And last but not least, well, we're not going to say last but not least, but we're going to talk about social media. So it's going to be a two-part. We got podcasts and YouTube. So it's 2024. There's an endless amount of information. Right now, I'm giving you information on how to be able to develop these traits and skill sets. And so you guys need to be able to seek that information. Podcast and YouTube University are number one. If you can't afford a course, if you can't afford a mentor, you don't have the money for a mentor, like I said, or a course or anything like that, podcasts, they're free. You got podcasts out there. And then also you have YouTube University, and you can type in on YouTube or any type of podcast just about on anything, and you will find someone talking about it. If I wanted to learn how to knit right now, knit some wool sweaters like my grandma used to do, I can find a podcast on it. I can go on YouTube and I can figure it out, right? And so just with that being said, I just want to say, guys, all the traits, the mindsets, the skills, the things that you're looking to acquire is right in front of you. It's right in front of you. So I'm giving it to you, and I'm breaking it down to you so you can go and seek this information with an intent. But for you, it's right in front of you guys, whether it's through book, conversation through a friend or family member, asking questions, podcasts, YouTube, meeting people, joining the club, courses, whatever it is, that information is right in front of you. And if you are still looking to make that push to get over that edge, and you feel like you don't have enough information, you don't have the skill set, that's an excuse. It's a cop-out. And I'm just letting you know right now, everything that I just told you right now, I've given you the tools, I've given you outlets, I've given you sites, I've given you books, and it's out there. The information is out there. So you guys have to be able to take control, take action, take that risk, and move forward. I'm going to go through real quick just the steps on how I actually select a business, because now, you guys understand certain traits, certain skill sets, certain things that you need to be able to get started. But half the problem too is actually knowing the steps or the traits that you need, or what you actually need to actually get started. And this is what I actually do before I select a business. And I'm going to talk about the freight brokers, because that's one of my recent businesses that we've been killing it in, by the way. And I want to talk about that. So before me and my wife, we got into the freight brokers business, one of the things we wanted to do was we wanted to first research industries that we wanted to get into that were growing, industries that gave us the revenue that we were looking for, the money that we were looking for, where we were at capital wise. We started to research based off my skill set. So like I told you, number one, you got to understand your skill set. We talked about it. You can go to Gallup Strengths. You can talk to friends and family members to do that, to understand what your skill set is. Because if you don't have a skill set to add value in the marketplace, to solve a problem, then you're not going to make any money. The only way someone's going to give you an exchange in dollar is if you're solving a problem, you're adding some type of value to that person. So number one, you have to understand your skill set. Once you understand the skill set, then you can do your industry research. The industry research is going to be, and this is if you already don't have an idea or something that you want to do, right? You just say, hey, listen, I'm tired of my 9-to-5. I'm looking for something different. I want to take control of my financial freedom. I want to take control of my time. This is for that person. So, industry research. So, When I go look at an industry, it is as simple as typing on Google top industries in that current year. So it's 2024. You can literally type in on Google, what are the top growing industries in 2024? And I will go through those industries, and based off of my skill set, I will compare and say, okay, what do I believe I will be able to, not one, the skill set aligns, but how much value can I add in this industry? What is the potential earnings in this industry? What is the required capital to get started? The skill set required, the licensing maybe that may be required. I go through all of that when I'm doing my industry research, in particular when we were looking, I think it was in 2021, me and my wife were looking, and that was the time during COVID. And we noticed that a lot of, when we did the research, they kept talking about transportation industries, more so trucking. During COVID, everyone was shutting the house, but only a few people were actually allowed to continue to move every day. And that was one, trucks, semi-trucks. They had to continue to deliver our goods. Everyone was in a frenzy about toilet paper, so those trucks were getting paid big bucks to move toilet tissue. While everyone's locked down, they're making money. Other people cannot make money, me being one included. I shut my offices down because we had to and go home. But the trucks continued to move. So as we did our research, we saw that the transportation industry was where we wanted to be at. Now, we've already had prior businesses open. We've had capital. So we were able to identify the idea of starting a transportation company by buying 3 semi-trucks. And so that came through us doing our research. You know, what industry is going to pay us the most, which is going to have us the highest scale, the cash flow we needed, all of that, right? And so we identified the industry that we felt like we can add the most value to. Now, number 3 is what I tell you guys. Mentors. Mentor is where, I guess you could say, where my favorite part of starting a business at, because I know the mentorship can really help me out. Mentorship is key for me. In the freight brokerage industry, I actually started a mentorship, which I told you I pay $60,000 a year specifically to get knowledge in the freight brokerage industry. So mentorships is key. I pay for Grant Cardone's courses. I pay for Alex Good Industries trucking portal. I pay for countless courses of mentorship just to skip the line. And so once I identify an industry, then I find if there's a mentorship, of course, something close that I can join and learn and skip the line and start out with a little bit more information than the next person, let's just say. And then number 4 is set up the LLC. Obviously, you can go on countless YouTube videos. You got to set up your LLC. You have to set up your EIN. You have to set up your business banking. So once I've identified the industry I want to be in, I understood if I could develop that skill set by paying for a mentor, a course, a class, or something like that, then I go ahead and I'm going to set up my LLC, my EIN, all that stuff that you think you need to do first to get started, you can really do last. And then number 5 is take action. You got to take action. You guys got to take action. And so key takeaways, guys. I just want to leave you guys with this, man. In order to get started, if you're talking about starting a business, becoming a brand new entrepreneur, you need to understand the traits that are involved. And I gave you 6. There's certain skill sets that it does not matter how good you know the product. If you don't have the mindset, the traits to get started, you're gonna come in and you're going to leave quicker than you actually started the business. I see a lot of people, again, set up a business 1 month. You ask them how that business is going the next month, and they said, it's done. It's done. And so those traits that I gave you earlier, again, if I'm going to go over it just real quick, we talk about adaptability, relentlessness, problem solving, hard working, personal development, which is always looking for ways to get better. And number 6, risk taking. You need those to actually sustain and stay in business. Before you even start thinking about opening up paying some type of money, you need that to be able to stay and sustain and stay in business, guys. And just remember, I'm going to leave you with this. You guys have to be able to look yourself in the mirror. Look yourself in the mirror and be able to analyze and see what you guys need, what you guys need to do to be able to continue to get better, increase that skill. A good way to do it is a mentor. I am 100% believer in mentorship. If you do not have a mentor, you can call me. I have 1-hour consulting calls. I would love to talk to you guys. And I don't consider myself a guru. I consider myself someone that's failed countless times. So I just want you guys to listen to my failures and learn from that. That's what I want you guys to do. Guys, I just want to remind you too, episode 2 is going to be coming out soon. So pay attention to that. We're going to talk about the freight brokerage. And that's going to be a great episode because for you guys who want to make that new 100K, the new 100K is $250,000 a year. If you guys want to get to that level, you guys got to tune into that episode next week. But I'm out of here, guys. Again, the Risk Takers Only podcast. It's Mike, baby.